Hello, it's Doug from Behind Closed Doors. Today I'm going to be looking at a video by Just Pearly Things, interviewing Matt O'Connor, who's Fathers for Justice Matt O'Connor. I've done videos on Pearl before, I'll put links in the description. I've done a video on Matt before, I'll put links in the description. This is a very long video, this is like an hour and a half, hour and 27 minutes. I'm not going to be able to watch all this. I mean, there's two reasons. One, because my phone doesn't have that much memory. And secondly, I ain't got the time. There's three actually. There's a third one. I just can't emotionally tolerate it. I did, one of the other video reactions I did was to Greg Ellis, what I believe his name was, when he was chatting with Jordan Peterson about his experiences with the family court and a book that he did called The Respondent. And I could only get so far through the video and I just get so angry and pissed off and hurt and upset because it's just so, it's evil. It's evil. I don't know any other way to put it, and it's in plain sight of everyone and everyone just ignores it. So I don't know what to say about it. Everyone goes around pretending like it's safe to live with a woman and it's okay to have children with a girl, and it's not. It's this whole system and the law is against the children and the father because everybody supports the female. Anyway, look, see, I'm getting pissed off already. So and this isn't resentment or misogyny towards women. Like, women are allowed to be as evil as they wish, whatever. But there should be a law against it, but there's not.
What up, guys? Welcome to the Just Pearly Things YouTube channel. Welcome to the sit down. Today, I have a special guest, Matt O'Connor, Irish royalty.
Indeed. Thanks, Pearl, for having me. We were the last Kings of Ireland, but as my ex-wife said, that's probably because we pissed it up at the bar, and there may be truth in that story, I'm afraid. Yes.
So you founded the organization Fathers for Justice. You have a book you released in 2007.
Yeah.
And the number one goal of your organization is to end fatherlessness and the cancer of the family breakdown.
Correct. That's
number one on the web.
Yeah, good luck with that, because so many people make too much money from it. Like, family breakdown costs 50 billion a year, and it grows by a billion every year. It's a huge industry because you've got barristers, solicitors, you got contact centers, you got social care workers, you got like, so many people make money out of breaking up the family home and making sure that the father doesn't get to see their child. Excuse me. So yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with ending fatherlessness, because fatherlessness is fantastic for the economy.
That's number one on the website.
That's number one. That's our number one mission objective, which has proven to be, obviously, I thought I could change the law in 3 years, and I started a campaign in 2001. Sadly, I'm still here 21 years later, chipping away at the injustice and the appalling treatment of fathers and children. Yeah,
it's mostly children. It's like a lot of the feminist jobs are created by hurting children. That's it. So if you're a feminist, and they get all the money from the government as well, because children don't get the money. Because again, even with the child abusing charities that are run, they're run by feminists, so they get all the cash.
But when I heard what was going on in the collectives, and I heard this, the most chilling phrase to me, and I called it the planned destruction of the family, was that what was said is the new parenting, the new structure would be women and children. That would be the new movement. And men would be disenfranchised because marriage was no longer a safe place, had never been a safe place for women and children. The women's movement has no interest in domestic violence. Its only main interest is and always has been money. And until you grasp that, then you don't really understand what's going on.
In our secret family courts have more in common with Putin's Russia than a supposed progressive modern democracy.
You said, what law are you trying to change?
Well, we're trying to create some laws, really, because at the moment, if you're a separated dad, you've got no rights in law to see your children, which is astonishing. The government's position is that they do not believe what's called a legal presumption of contact would be helpful. And that means that your only right is to make an application.
A legal presumption to be able to see your own child.
To court to see your children. Some fathers get confused because you've got parental rights and responsibilities. So if your name is on the birth certificate, you'll have those automatically, but they are very, very pitiful and very limited. They only give you rights to educational and medical information. It does.
Yeah, so like I've said several times on this, it's like, you know, wherever you have a right, you have a responsibility. So the feminists always bang on about rights, but they never talk about responsibilities. So they don't want the fucking responsibility of having a right. Whereas with the as a parent, you have a right to pay for your child. You have a right to know what's education, but you don't have a right to see them. Fuck off. So how can I be responsible and have authority over something that I'm not in control of? How can I be responsible for this child when I can't even talk to them? How can I do what's best for their well-being when we can't have a conversation?
Educational and medical information. It does not give you a right in law to see your children. The presumption of the courts is such that...
So you have the just to reiterate, you have the responsibility for taking care of, but you don't have the right to be able to interact with your child. But rights and responsibility are inextricably linked to create accountability.
The children live with the mother automatically. That is the assumption and presumption. And that the father, as I said, will need to make an application to court to see his children.
Yeah, I challenge that. I don't believe that the mother gets to live with the child automatically. I think that they've got to apply for like court orders and stuff with regards to occupation orders. I don't know why he said that.
And he'll need to go through a safeguarding process, where safeguarding checks are carried out, to be fair, on both parties. But the treatment...
They're not on both parties, because that's done by like a Section 7 by CAFCAS, I'm assuming that he means. And so the criteria that CAFCAS use is the Bernardo's Children's Charity matrix, and that is sexist. So it will only identify male abuse. It won't identify abuse that the mother is doing to a child. So therefore, when they're going through their little fucking checklist of what to look out for, there's nothing there to indicate that they should be looking at anything to do with the mother. It's all aimed at the father.
The treatment of fathers is fundamentally discriminatory. It's fundamentally in breach of their rights. It's fundamentally in breach of the human rights of a child to see their father, to enjoy not just the presence and involvement of the father, but the paternal family. The paternal family, you know. Mother's grandfather.
Yeah, this is a point. It's not just like Fathers for Justice. It would have been better, I think, to have called the, you know, campaign like Children for Justice or something like that, because they're really representing children. Because if everybody, it depends who wants, kind of like what Jordan Peterson says. It's like, well, who gets to decide what's best for children? Okay, if it's not the parent, then who is it? Where are they? Like, who is in charge here?
People having to stay married if they have children. I mean, we are
yes,
two
it's
divorced
better
men
if they
here.
do. It's better if they do.
It's
better for the
I think
children.
most people would agree that that's the best. But as far as I understand, do you think that the laws should say that we have to stay together?
Oh, it isn't obvious to me that the liberalization of the divorce laws in the 60s was for everyone's best interest. Now, exactly what that means, I'm not sure. But we do know that stable, intact, two-parent families are better for children. So, you know, it depends on who you put first.
But isn't that an individual choice and not something the law should decide?
Well, it depends to some degree on whether the law should advocate for children. I mean, children really can't speak for themselves, can they? They need some authority to speak for them. And so we do know, like data, for example, on child welfare indicates crystal clear that children from intact two-parent families do better on virtually every measure that you can possibly imagine. So, but I'm not advocating draconian measures to keep people together who don't want to be together.
Like, who is deciding on behalf of children?
And fathers, aunts, uncles, and everybody else who can support that child. So it's a really difficult and troubling system. I say it's completely secretive. There is no accountability, no transparency.
There's no accountability or transparency, as he was about to say. And this is what I'm saying with the women get the rights, the men get the responsibilities, and there is no accountability to anybody. So the whole thing is destroyed. But again, that's really good for the economy.
No transparency. We have an unelected, unaccountable judiciary operating in complete secrecy. Even Kim Jong-un would probably flinch at the idea.
Yeah, this is the thing. You can't talk about what goes on inside of a family court. This is the most disturbing thing about the whole thing, because the whole idea is that like justice should be done and it should be seen to be done. And what I believe that it's doing is it's protecting the magistrates and the judges and the solicitors. It's not protecting the children. It says that it's protecting the children, but it's really not doing that.
Stability, no transparency. We have an unelected, unaccountable judiciary operating in complete secrecy. Even Kim Jong-un would probably flinch at the idea this is some form of justice.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I just mean the level of secrecy is astonishing.
So I kind of want to take a step back just because
it's a lot to take in. Yeah.
Yeah, because you see, this is the other thing as well. Like, I thought Pearl knew all this because she's been doing this channel for the past couple of years, and she goes on in the manosphere and she sees what's going on. I don't know how she doesn't know about all this stuff. This is just basic stuff. Like, we haven't even got into the meat and the veg of it yet. So, there's so much to say. I'm just so irritable when I think about this subject because of the injustice. My resentment isn't at, like, women or anything. I'm not misogynistic or anything. Like, women can be as evil as they like. I don't give a fuck. But the law and the system and the courts shouldn't be in place to facilitate that. It shouldn't be rewarding bad behaviour. It shouldn't be covering up criminality. It shouldn't be pushing forward child abuse and encouraging that. And then turning around and saying, no, everyone's kind, nothing to see here.
So if I was to have a child with someone, okay, and we separate, we break up. He has no.
See, before we even get into that, I mean, Hannah does know, I think, like, just how difficult that is to begin with, because women are so fucking fussy when it comes to mate selection. So, I mean, that's what most of her channel's based on. It's like chatting with feminists and stuff like that, and looking at the whole red pill manosphere space, and looking at all the difficulty in just getting somebody pregnant. At every single step, there's a Pareto distribution. So it makes it very unlikely that a couple are going to get together, stay together long enough to raise children to adulthood. I think she's come from a family where that's been possible, but it's only because the mother's allowed it. It doesn't matter if the father's worked hard and is great, because she could just pull the rug out from underneath his feet anyway. So the fact that she isn't living in a family where the house hasn't been destroyed shows a lot to her mother because of that. Obviously, like, her dad's built a load of stuff, but, like, her mum hasn't decided to just go, I'm going to destroy it all. And so if your mum isn't a complete cunt, you're a very lucky child, because they can just go, yeah, and point, and then your whole life's destroyed. And it's like creating a building. It takes years to build something, but it only takes seconds to demolish it. And so women can just go around destroying everything, and there's no accountability, and they've got no responsibility, and the courts will let them off for everything.
So if I was to have a child with someone, okay, and we separate, we break up, he has no legal rights to the child.
Correct.
None.
So if you were to separate, for example,
if he's on the birth certificate, he gets the education rights or something?
He gets information about education and information about medical stuff.
Oh, but just information.
Not necessarily, because even though that's true as a matter of fact in law, you try getting it off the school and the fucking doctors and all that, they don't give a fuck. They'll hide it, because it's all, the world is run by women. The world is built by men, like the buildings, the roads, the sewers, the electrics, the fucking communication tools. Like, the world is built by men, but it's run by women. They're all receptionists. They all work at these companies. Look, you try getting past them. You try getting a doctor's appointment in the UK. Good fucking luck. And they're all Karens. They're all moaning about everything, that things aren't good enough, while they're reaping all the benefits of everything. I've got to calm down, for fuck's sake.
No say. I still get to choose where the kids go to school.
If the child lives with you, so if the father, what normally happens, Pearl, is the father will leave the house. And as soon as...
that's why you said that earlier. I didn't leave the house. I can't talk too much about my situation. Well, I'm not going to mention any names or anything, so... Oh, whatever. So, yeah, I didn't leave the house. So if you don't leave the house, then they get a non-molestation order, and molestation means inconvenience. So she'll claim that it's emotionally inconvenient to have you in the property, and that will be linked to an occupation order. So they apply for that first because it does two things. One, it makes, in a child arrangements order, it makes the woman priority, because the non-molestation order was applied before the child arrangements order. And also it gets housing, and housing is important when it comes to where the children are going to stay, because they want to keep the children in the family home, which is near the school that they're attending. So it's all based the children's welfare checklist isn't based on the safety of children, it's based on housing.
it is a question of where the child is. It's what we call the status quo. With which parent is the child going to be spending the major part of the time? And that is based really on schooling. And if the child is at a school and one parent is looking after the child, particularly at the moment when the parents separate, when the parents separate, if the child stays with one parent, because of the importance of a stable environment, the child is likely to stay there whatever else happens.
Now, she said a lot of things here. One is that the child is likely to stay there no matter what else happens, and that is true. No matter what the resident parent does to that child, the child is going to stay there. That's why they can get away with their child abuse. No matter what it takes to get that residency, domestic abuse, child abuse, they don't care. They're getting that residency because the family court and society is going to reward somebody that's a resident parent. Two parents are staying in the house, then both are resident parent. Well, both can't be resident parent because there is a separation. They're no longer having sex anymore, so we have to get rid of the father. The importance of a stable environment. You've got two parents in a house. Let's say the father does everything. He looks after the kids full time, he works full time from home, he takes care of everything. The moment he's going out drinking every night, just being totally unpredictable and unstable. The man is being stable. The woman can still apply to the family court for a non-molestation order and have the man removed from the property, and if he reapproaches again, he can get arrested for going back to his own home. And then she can get an occupation order to ensure that she stays in the property while she still goes out and parties every night and gives the kids to somebody else. So don't talk to me about the stability of a stable environment for the children. What was a stable environment is no longer a stable environment because the family court give out non-molestation orders for free, without evidence, same day, without notifying the other party. I can't even begin to describe how bad the situation is. So it would be very interesting to hear what the Baroness has to say about non-molestation orders and occupation orders, which can be getting same day without evidence, and it's usually women applying for them in order to get the man out the house, and if he returns to the house he can be arrested. So now she's the resident parent. If you're used to seeing your mother and your father every day, and your father takes care of you for the majority of the time, and now he's out the house because she has been inconvenienced by your presence, how is that stable for the children? They see the child has seen the father every day since they've been born, and he's been taking care of them, and no longer sees them again for years because somebody else feels a bit inconvenienced by them having to talk to them. That's what a non-molestation order is. Molestation means inconvenience. So, no matter what else happens, so that's why the woman can apply to the family court. She can use domestic violence, she can use child abuse, she can be aggressive, tenacious bully. The child is staying in the property no matter what happens. No matter if mother gets another boyfriend in and he's abusive, like with the case of baby P. No, that's fine. No matter what happens, the child is staying in that property. No matter what happens.
Because they don't want homeless children. So they'd rather keep the child in a house where the child is being tortured than have the child move house because of the importance of schooling. And Baroness Butler-Sloth goes into this. I've done other videos on this as well. I'll put links in the description. It's all horse shit. It's all bullshit. It's all hurting children and destroying the family home and destroying the fabric of, ripping apart the fabric of society, so that we can get some jobs for feminists.
Father leaves the house because he thinks he's doing the right thing. This is what I call Sir Galahad syndrome. So we think we're doing the noble thing, we're doing the right thing. But if the father relationship breaks down and he thinks, oh, it's awkward to be living.
Yeah, so even if you don't leave the family home, she'll have you removed. Because like Erin Pizzey says in her book, Scream Quietly, All the Neighbours Here, all the woman has to do is pick up the phone. She can just have you removed. Your life is over. I mean, you look at what's happened to Andrew Tate. He's probably one of the most anti-fragile men on the planet. He's got all these like driving licenses and passports, and he's got an abundance of money and networks of like 100,000 men, and his war room. And where was he for most of the year so far? In a fucking Romanian prison, pacing around. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're the top guy or the guy at the bottom. You're gonna get fucked. So lube up.
Together. The father will generally be the person who leaves the house. Unfortunately, when he does that, his rights go up in smoke like that. as soon as he leaves, because when he's living together with the mother.
No, you see, this is why I disagree with Matt, because even when you stay in the home, you still don't have any rights. It's an illusion to believe that you have rights in the first place. This is where I disagree with Matt. It's not the fact that he leaves the home. If he stays in the home, he could go to jail for breaking the non-molestation order and go to jail for up to 5 years. And you see, Matt knows this, so I don't know why he's saying this. Because housing is more important than children, and women are more important than children. So those two things, that's why the non-mol and the ex parte non-mol and the occupation order is so important, and why solicitors are advised to apply for them before a child arrangements and prohibited steps order. So again, whereas if they applied for the child arrangements order first, it would be different because the parents are still in the family home.
There's a presumption of shared care. As soon as he leaves, mother becomes the parent of care, the resident parent. He becomes the non-resident parent with no lawful rights to his child.
What if it was the other way around? Would it switch or no?
Well, if the
So when the guy leaves for work in the morning, comes back in the afternoon, then she can just keep the key in the door. He can't get back into his own house. She can phone the police saying that he's trying to break in, that this is my ex-partner, he's come back to the house, he's trying to break in, he's trying to create disturbance and all this kind of stuff. And so the police will come and have him removed, even though he still lives there. Because she said, oh no, we've broke up and he's left. She'll just lie. She'll just lie to the police. She'll just, in the same way they lie to the courts, in the same way they lie to the doctors when they've got like Munchausen's by proxy. They just keep lying. And everyone just goes, yes, yes, we'll obey you, child abusing mother. We will obey you. And that's how it works. Because you're a woman and women are more important than children. That's why abortion's legal. Because women are more important than children. I know I'm sounding a bit bizarre and weird here, but this is much deeper than politics and the legalities of everything. In their heart of hearts, people want to protect women more than they want to protect children, and that doesn't make sense to me. And it's taken me years to understand why that would be, and it's to protect the eggs, because women are the carriers of eggs.
child was living with the father, then the father would be effectively become the resident parent, and the mum would become the non-resident parent. But I say that is very extraordinarily rare.
What percent of the time does that happen?
I'd say less than 1%.
Less than
easily less than 1%.
Yeah, because the women are coached by the solicitors in order to get the man out of the house. Man goes to work, let's say, and the woman is on maternity leave and she goes to a Sure Start Centre or something akin to that. There'll be courses in there teaching her that she's in an oppressive situation and that she needs to get out of it. They coach them and women don't just leave men, they plan it for about 6 months in advance about how they're going to do it, where they're going to do it and all this kind of shit. So they build the team around them in order to be able to destroy the guy and the children in order to get what they want.
I mean, women, we can be spiteful, so if we don't...
Women are spiteful.
Yeah,
Women are...
It's not just that they're spiteful, they're evil and they get away with it. Men don't get away with being naughty, let alone evil. The double standards are out the roof. It's just a completely different world. Even if you look at sexism in the fucking Wikipedia thing, you can only be sexist if it's towards women. Literally, it's got sexism embedded in the definition of it because it can only apply to women. It's just fucking it's very strange what's going on. I believe I understand it at a very deep level, but it's very difficult to explain in this video, and I don't want to drift too much off point. I think I drifted off point with the eggs, and we're not even there yet. We're so far. There's so many levels to this. Women are so in control of everything, and they're pretending like they're not in order to gain attention and money and power.
Can be predatory, become far more predatory sexually, in terms of relationships, the informality. You can meet somebody.
Again, I disagree with that. I think women can be much more predatory. They get away with it in the same way they get away with the domestic violence and child abuse, because there's a whole family court there to support it and cover it up so that they never get accused of anything.
The clicks online, relationships are more disposable. Well, who wants the inconvenience of having a father around? That's what it comes down to.
Who what?
Who wants the inconvenience of having a father around, the mother around?
Yeah, because men are just tools. Women use men as tools to get what they want, and then once they no longer need the tool, they get rid of it, and it's just an inconvenience to keep it around.
Careful, doesn't like, or is resentful against because maybe the father's been unfaithful, maybe he's done something wrong, maybe he's not earned enough money. Far better just to
This is the other thing as well, and I want to put this to guys, because guys feel a huge amount of guilt, because a lot of how women do this is by making men and people in society feel guilty about things that they haven't done wrong. So I want you to know, and sometimes as a guy, you might fuck up, you might cheat, or you might shout at the kids, or you might do something that you feel a bit, oh, I was out of order there, I shouldn't have done that, I portrayed myself in a way, and so then they use that. But I just want you to know, I'm a fantastic father, I never cheated, I never did anything bad, I'm 100% happy with my behaviour. I sleep at night like a fucking baby because I have peace of mind. So I want you to know that, and I had to go for court 15 times. My whole life was destroyed. I was homeless. They completely fucked me over and my children. And I just want you to know that you don't have to have done anything wrong. So even if they're making you feel guilty, don't feel bad. Just if you know you've done nothing wrong, don't worry about it. And if you do feel guilty about something, learn to forgive yourself, because you can't carry this around with you, because a lot of the guys end up dead or homeless or suicidal or whatever, or just go crazy, or it's ugh. I've got to calm down.
Rush the father out, and that is the reality of our society today. It's disposable, and that's why we've got over 3 million kids living in fatherless homes in this country.
Yeah, you said 1 out of 3 children live without a father.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that high.
This is a pandemic that's off the chart.
I didn't realise it was that fucking low. What, just because usually women will have like different fathers by different dads just to fuck everything up, because then you'll have loads of semi-half brothers and sisters going around not knowing who's fucking who and getting incest. But again, girls don't think about that because they don't give a fuck. They just have another baby with another guy, and the guy don't give a fuck because no one else will fuck them. So there's no fucking standards anywhere. It's all a load of shit. And it's the worst of society. It's the worst men and the women coming together to make babies. It's the worst aspects of humanity that are breeding.
The pandemic is off the charts, and obviously what that creates is the whole list of consequences. You've got in this area, like in East London, you've got feral estates with feral boys, young boys roaming around, whose only father figure is a local gang leader or is the local drug dealer, for poor girls whose first experience, and often of a man, is a sexual one because the father hasn't been present. So this cycle of fatherlessness condemns our children to,
Yeah, Warren Farrell's done books on this, and the safest place for a child to be is with their biological father, and the most dangerous place for a child to be with, especially a girl, is with their non-biological father. And that's the first thing that women do. Let's get another dad in. Fucking sick and disgusting bitches.
Antisocial behaviour actually ended up in the very courts that separated them from their fathers in the first place. That's the fucking paradox here.
So, okay. So back to he leaves.
Yeah, so nobody checks the boyfriend. He doesn't get any checks, and the boyfriend can change every other week because mum doesn't give a fuck who she fucks. It's fucking disgusting.
The house. Then what's the next thing that happens?
Well, he'll want to see the children.
Again, like, I didn't leave the house. No, I had gangs of people in the street trying to make me leave. It's coercive, controlling behaviour, which is a criminal act, and they get away with it because the family court give them orders to support their coercive, controlling behaviour. And that's essentially what parental alienation is, because they won't acknowledge parental alienation in the family court because they don't give a fuck about kids. And all this could be resolved. All of this could be resolved with shared parenting. But they won't fucking do it because so much money is made through not seeing the child. You have to pay like £80 an hour. Well, let's put aside the referral of like 160 quid or whatever, plus £80 an hour to see your child in a supervised contact centre as an average price. You've got to pay 20% of your gross rate wages after you earn £7 a year. So just like if somebody were to kidnap your child and demand a ransom, that's essentially what's happening. It's state-sponsored kidnapping. That's what Bob Geldof, I believe, referred to it as. But not only do they charge you for the release of the hostages, they also charge you while they have the hostages in child maintenance. So you're paying to not see your children, then you're paying for the privilege of seeing them. Fuckers. They're fuckers.
And then oftentimes, as I've found out, the women will say no.
Yeah,
right?
The women will say no for any one of a multiple number of reasons. But they are, unfortunately, the law empowers women to deny dads access to their kids, and what they effectively
And this
do.
is my point. I'm not angry at my ex. She's just evil and she should be in jail. I'm not angry at, like, I'm angry at the system that's in place. It's like with men. It's like if men just went around killing and raping everyone and nobody did anything about it, I'll be pissed off at that as well. You're not so much pissed off at the men because they're fucking evil. You're pissed off at the police for not doing anything. And that's what's happening. There is no equality. Women live in their fairy world, and there is no equality. It's not based on behaviour, it's based on sex. Like Northamptonshire Police, where I live, everything's about sex all the time. Oh, protecting women and girls. So, and females and girls are perpetrators of a lot of crimes, but they'll still protect them because they're protecting women and girls. Because they're not basing whether a crime is being committed on behaviour, they're doing it based on sex, because they have a political agenda. In the same way with the family court with Kafkas and Bernardo's Children's Charity. Everybody does it. They turn it so that they all equality, but then they scrap equality. Oh, no, women get priority. Fuck men and boys. Women and girls. And then they say, well, it's disproportionate. But that's because the lens that you're using is a disproportional lens, because you will not identify men as victims of domestic abuse. You will not identify boys as victims of domestic abuse because you're sexist. But then you can't say they're sexist because they changed the definition of sexism. so it's all fucked. It's my little rant.
To the kids, and what they effectively do, and what the mothers are doing, and it's appalling because this is emotional abuse. They're actually weaponising the children. They're turning the children into a weapon to punish their former partner, to punish the children's father, to separate them. It's the cruelest thing.
I think they don't give a fuck about their children. So when you're saying things like this, and psychopaths exist in society. Yeah, there are psychopaths in society, and some of them are female, and they're allowed to get away with it. It's not just that they're allowed to get away with it, they're encouraged with it. There's courts in place to ensure that it gets carried out. The whole system is set up for child abuse, because there's nobody there to defend children. Because who defends children? Nobody. Everybody's all about women's rights. There's not even a men's rights movement, really. It's just a load of disgruntled old guys saying, well, this is bullshit, isn't it? Like, but the women get together, the liberals get together, and they form groups against children.
It's the cruelest thing you can do. What's the way of punishing somebody that you hate the most is to stop them.
See, I think they hate their own children. Because I can't even imagine doing this to a child. They hate their own children because because they see their ex-partner in the child, and so as a way of getting rid of the ex-partner, of cleansing from it, they want to cleanse the child. That's why they usually end up having new babies. Oh, fuck it, I'll just go and have babies with the new guy. Get rid of the old kids, they don't matter. The inhumanity of the whole thing makes me sick. It's disgusting, and yet everybody praises it because of feminism.
Seeing the people they love the most. And that, I'm afraid, and I've been doing this 21 years, we've had over 1 million inquiries, there are tens of thousands of cases. And I can tell you from my own personal experience of dealing with that volume of cases, that is a reality. And it's tragic because the system literally encourages mothers, not only to do that, encourages mothers to make false allegations. So we live in an age where to get legal aid, for a mother to get legal aid, she has to make allegations of domestic abuse or coercive controlling behaviour.
Yeah, and that's the thing with carers allowance and disability. That's why they have Munchausen's by proxy, because they get more money for a sick child, so they keep the child sick. I've got to stop it there because I'm getting so emotional because I'm so outraged at the injustice, and this is the way that the world is. A good way of comparing it is to the coronavirus. That was all bullshit. But yeah, everybody did it, but we're not wearing masks now, are we? We're able to go, like, what's the difference? It was a story, it was a political story. And your perceptions are guided by it. It's got nothing to do with the reality of the situation. Coronavirus is just as much in the air as it was a couple of years ago and will be. There's always been coronaviruses. So there's always been viruses. Like, it's just like, and nobody ever wore masks in history. But for that year or two, we did. It's crazy. It makes no sense at all.
And that's what drives you insane. The same with this transgender bullshit. When you look into the history of that, it's sick, it's perverted. And yet this is normal. And who's in charge of society? That's my question. That's how I want to finish this. Who is in charge of society? Because it's definitely not the individual. It's definitely not us. It's definitely not a democratic system that we have. It is something more akin to communism. The state get to decide what you can and can't do. Right. Yeah, so that's the end of that video. Right, so that's the end of that video. However, having said all that, if you do want to get a girlfriend and you want to date a girl from online dating, which is where most people date now, then you'll need my product, because you won't know what to say to a girl on Bumble or Tinder or something like that. One of the things that they'll do is they'll have you talking on there for fucking hours and days and weeks and months and years without ever meeting you. But if you genuinely want a decent relationship, why the fuck am I selling this product? I don't fucking know. I managed almost 8 minutes. So I've still got an hour and 20 minutes left. There's no fucking way I can make it through the whole video. I'm just so outraged by the whole injustice. Because I care about justice, I care about children, I care about happy, healthy families. You know, I'm proud of myself. I managed to get almost 8 minutes into this video, but I've got to, for the sake of my sanity, I need to draw it to a close there. Hello, my name is Doug and I've created a video tutorial called What to Message a Girl for Online Dating Success. The reason why I've created this product is to help those men out there who are dating online but are not getting the replies or getting the dates that they desire. My product will teach you what to message a girl, what not to message a girl, when to message a girl, how to respond when you're not sure what to write, what to do if she doesn't reply, how to get her phone number, and how to communicate to get online dating success. If you're getting matches and no success, this product is for you. It's what you need to do today to start getting success with your matches. I'll also be talking about other issues such as how to spot red flags, identify time wasters, to stay out the friend zone, how to deal with ghosting, simmering and icing. Not only will I be giving you exactly what you need, copy and paste, I'll also be explaining to you the reason why I'm writing what I'm writing so you can understand the psychology and know what behaviours to look out for and which ones to avoid. This product is packed with value. I've tried to cram as much as I can into a short amount of time as possible while being the most informative. If you're a man and you're confused and frustrated with what to text with online dating, this product is the solution for you to get more dates in less time. Click the link in the description box below to buy the product and change your dating life forever.